Hey David.
Hey Lennon.
You could almost say that this video that we're recording right now is a far cry from a well-structured game review. Am I right?
Are you proud of yourself for saying it like that? Out of all the puns.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had to come up with something, all right? I had to come up with something. Welcome everybody to another episode of... Does this game still hold up, David? Does this game still hold up? And the people have voted. So if you missed it, recently we put a poll up on the channel. People voted whether they wanted to see the Far Cry trilogy, so Far Cry 1 through 3, or the Crysis trilogy. And what we're going to do is go through the first 3 Far Cry games. And after we finish that trilogy, we're going to move on to the Crysis trilogy. So this is a game, David.
Yeah, you could say that. It is a game.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's because it's aged poorly or it's designed badly.
Well, I think we're going to get through the weeds. We're going to discuss that at length in this video. And of course, the ultimate goal of this series is to see if this game still holds up in the year of our Lord 2025. Spoiler, it might not.
Fucking kill me.
So look,
God.
So let me just go through a quick synopsis of what this game is all about, David. So a former US Special Forces operative named Jack Carver is stranded on a mysterious tropical archipelago after his boat is destroyed while escorting a journalist. And as he fights mercenaries to find her, he uncovers horrific genetic engineering experiments by a mad scientist. Ooh. So I'm just going to say this now. This game is just so divorced of anything like the rest of the Far Cry series. I know that there's the whole hallucination shit in future games, but I feel like this game specifically is just so different from the rest of the series. And it might have something to do with the fact that the original Far Cry game is actually developed by Crytek and published by Ubisoft, and then just the rest of the games were made by Ubisoft from that point moving forward. Another thing that's interesting about this game is that it has, if I want to estimate as safely as possible, I'd say probably about 20,000 different versions of this game or spin-offs. So just to clarify, so with this video, David has actually played the original 2004 version of this game. It's 21 years old. That's crazy.
God, I wish I didn't.
And I played the remastered version. Calling it a remaster is a little bit questionable, but I played the 2014 version, which is called Far Cry Classic. Now, where do we even begin with this, David? So usually what we do is we go through kind of like the story, the gameplay, the ending, but to be honest, as far as the story goes in this game, it's quite light on its story. The story really mainly just serves as a way of getting Jack to go from one stage to the next in this incredibly cheesy glory. So I just think let's just talk about the setting and the packaging. So I guess what's your initial impressions or feelings about the setting of this game, David?
Well, first of all, this game was a massive technical masterpiece when it was first released in 2004. I can see the appeal when this game was first released. It was a massive sandbox game developed by Crytek where you can really approach different ways to approach the enemy. You can go in guns blazing, you can sneak around a bat, taking out for a distance. It really does have that foundation of obviously what we know Far Cry as it is today. But man, playing it now, it is quite an eyesore. I gotta admit, it really hasn't aged that well. You could really notice the limitations obviously they had back in 2004 with its graphics and its game engine. And that's not even going into the gameplay. And you are incredibly right. There is a very light story, and the main guy just sounds like Duke Nukem.
Yeah, you stole the fucking words out of my mouth. I've literally got a note here. Where is it? I've got a note in front of me where I said the voice acting in this game is bad. It's deliciously
so
bad and cheesy. I love it. Jack Carver feels like he could easily just be Duke Nukem or something like this with his voice lines.
And I just love he's like, why should I trust you? And the guy's like, I could have turned you in. And he goes, yeah, you make a good point. And I'm just like, what?
To be fair, it's so shit, but I kind of like it. I respect and admire how cheesy and shitty it is.
It's so cheesy. I'm just like, that makes no sense. You got a good point. What do I need to do? I'm like, what do you mean? You don't know this guy, dude.
Like, going back to some of your what you were saying about the setting, like, what's interesting about this, so rather than being an open world, I think it's one of the only Far Cry games that aren't an open world, but this stage
It's like a hybrid.
It's kind of like a hybrid, because you can't access this open world outside of stages, and if anything, each stage is kind of like its own unique section of the island or its confined space, and some of the missions are small, but some of the missions, man, are so massive. Like, you have a lot of sandbox to play with, and
yeah,
I think that's kind of fascinating to me, that you can go from stealth, you can go in guns blazing, which I really like. You know, you can go in from the river, you can go in from a hang glider, which feels really, it honestly feels like the early blueprints of what Far Cry evolved into. And from what I see, it actually reminded me a lot of Far Cry 3 with its tropical setting. But obviously with Far Cry 3, it just looks like it took absolutely everything from this game and turned it into a good game. And I just thought that was really fascinating. But as for the visuals, like you said, it is a bit of an eyesore, but at a glance, I mean, it probably helps that I did play the remastered version of this game, because it does look a little better. The draw distance is genuinely impressive. The colors really pop. The actual level designs themselves, I really like how there's this diverse approach of, you know, you can go into the water, you can interact with this boat, drop it onto the water, and then you jump down and follow it. You can almost basically hop on any vehicle that you see throughout the game. So I think that's really good. But when you begin to compare this game to other flagship titles from the same year, like Halo 2 or Half-Life 2, this game looks pretty shabby, like, in comparison. You know, especially with some of the detail on your guns, the design and detail of the characters, like, all of it feels a little flat and squished, like an early PS2 game or like a late PS1 Nintendo 64 kind of game. I'm like, am I playing GoldenEye right now? Like, you know, but I don't know. I just, visually, it does feel quite dated, and to be honest, it kind of didn't look incredible for the time. I just think what was technically impressive about this game was the world that you were inhabiting and exploring on this island. I thought that was what was really impressive about this game. But as for the story, I mean, look, it feels like a fever dream love child of like James Bond and like Planet of the Apes, and
it went so left field. I was like, okay, we have to rescue the journalist, and then I'm like, what do you mean it's gonna be genetic experience? I thought we were trying to rescue the girl.
Yeah, there's mutants in this game, man. It's like,
what do you mean there's mutants?
What the fuck? It's like the game, like halfway through the game, it almost kind of turns into this like horror game for a little bit, where it's just like you're being hunted or like trying to like shoot down all of these like mutants, which are kind of like mutated primates, and then the further on you get in the game, there's mutated like humans and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, apes together strong, and just like, you know, like, what is this game? But yeah, needless to say, story isn't the important factor here. Do you have any thoughts on the visuals or presentation or anything like that before we move on to just the straight up gameplay?
The only one thought I will, before we dive into the gameplay, because you didn't mention this and I do want to just touch on it very quickly. You said this game had 20,000 remakes, and you couldn't have been so on point, because technically this was the first Far Cry game I've ever played. However, it wasn't this version, it was Far Cry Instinct's Predator, which was a remake of the two original Xbox titles, where Ubisoft ported it to make it more console friendly, so it was more of a linear first person shooter. As well, they made the story a bit more cohesive, and Jack doesn't sound like Duke Nukem, and you actually do get the Predator powers, which makes you feel like a super soldier, which I fell in love with when I played it on the 360. It introduced a multiplayer and the custom map creator for Far Cry. So that was my first Far Cry experience. So when I was playing this game, I thought it was going to be that.
I mean, funnily enough, I've actually went through and found every iteration of this game or its spin-offs, and it turns out that there's 7. Obviously, 20,000 is an exaggeration, but I'm going to quickly just go through them as we're talking about them now. So obviously there was the original Far Cry from 2004, which you played, and then the next one was released in 2005, and that was Far Cry Instincts, and that was that was an Xbox port of the original game, and generally this version of the game was stripped back a little bit and a little less open-ended to accommodate for the console hardware at the time. And then the next one was Far Cry Instincts Evolution, which was released in 2006. And this was actually a separate campaign and kind of a sequel of sorts to Far Cry 1, again, released on the original Xbox, and this sequel was considerably shorter. However, it also included multiplayer, which was interesting. And then Far Cry Instincts Predator, which you said you played, is an Xbox 360 port, which was released on the exact same day as Evolution, and it contained graphically enhanced versions of both Instincts and Instincts Evolution. Jesus, this is such confusing naming convention. Then there was also Far Cry Vengeance, which was released in 2006, which was a Wii port of Far Cry Instincts Evolution. So there was a Wii port of the game, which was apparently unanimously shit on because it had really bad enemy AI and it was just really clunky. So
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, of course. Next up, we've also got Far Cry Paradise Lost, which was released in 2007, which was a two-player arcade cabinet light gun rail shooter version of Far Cry Instincts. So basically an arcade cabinet House of the Dead style shooter, which is fucking crazy. And then finally, you've got Far Cry Classic, which was released in the 2014 version, which is the version that I played. And basically, I would say that the main difference from Far Cry 1 to Far Cry Classic is as follows. So you've got enhanced and remastered visuals and graphics. Generally speaking, it's just a higher poly count for basically everything. The HUD is slightly overhauled. The environment has more texture and detail, and of course the draw distance is even better. And I believe the aiming down sights works better than the original game, because I don't think you can fully aim down the sights in Far Cry 1, whereas in Far Cry Classic you actually can.
I should have got the classic version.
Yeah, well, hey man, one of us needed to play the original version, and you drew the short straw this week. So as far as the story and missions goes, like nothing's changed here. It's just revamped graphics for the cutscenes and stuff like that. But honestly, it still looked like a PS2 game when I was playing it. I'll be completely honest. So
that's totally fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting that there were just so many versions or spin-offs of just like the original. So I guess if you want to be technical about it, I guess it's like 3, maybe 4 versions of redos of the original one. And then there was a couple of different versions of like that quasi kind of sequel. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. But I guess I kind of touched on the gameplay a little bit there with the aiming down the sights thing. So let's just straight up just talk about the gameplay, if you will, David.
Yeah. Did you want me to start off with it?
You know what? Yes, you take the lead with this one.
Yeah. So with Far Cry 1 it is painful to play in 2025. First of all, the game control is obviously pretty standard as a standard first-person shooter. You got your crouch, you got your prone, you got your jump. The issue that I found was just the inconsistencies with the stealth system.
Oh my god, dude! Don't get me started about the stealth in this game, dude. It's what stealth? What stealth?
I was like, oh, cool, it has a stealth system. It's like, oh yeah, here's this little bar around your HUD, and the more you run or the more you're out in the open, they will notice you. If you shoot weapons, you'll get noticed. But it's just incredibly inconsistent. Some moments you can be completely stealthy where the enemy will not pick you up or will not see you at all, and other moments you could play the exact same way, they could just pick you up immediately, and it just was so incredibly frustrating. Because this game has massive, incredible difficult spikes that I've never experienced.
I'm so glad you said that, because, dude, the difficulty, I don't know how well. There's one word. There's one word that I would use to describe the difficulty in this game, and it's just odd. It's so odd. Even though I played this on easy for the sake of this video, right? Just because I wanted to play through as much of the game as I could. I consistently and constantly died in this game for the most bullshit reasons, like grenades and rocket launchers. Are they like heat seeking? Because it's just like, I don't know how, but no, if there was a grenade or just like a fucking rocket going up in the air, it's like, oh, let's go fucking aim for where Jack Carver is. Just like, let's just follow him around and kill him instantly. There's just, Oh, there's no grace, dude.
There's no grace. Sometimes the enemy AI can just scope you from like a kilometer away. And the one thing that pisses me off the most in this game is bullshit enemy placement. What do you mean you have an enemy behind me that made no noise and you just placed there just to piss me off? He's just placed there just to piss the player off, because it makes no sense why this one guard is just sitting on this ledge that you conveniently walk under just so he can shoot you in the back and immediately kill you. And the checkpoint system is non-existent, because you could go through a whole entire stage, die at the end, it will send you back 10 to 5 minutes. And oh my god, I played on normal and I thought, normal being even balance. There's no balance when it comes to difficulty. Jack Carver is meant to be a special ops kind of man, I guess. That's what his background is. He can't shoot a gun to save his life.
God,
the accuracy doesn't work.
He's also like just the least perceptive guy on the planet. Is just like, oh, what do I do? Like, it's just the whole time he's just bumbling his way through the game. And to speak on the whole checkpoint thing, I will say I do think that the remaster does actually improve on that, because there.
That's nice. I'm glad you had a better experience.
I'm really happy for you. I'm really happy for you.
I'm happy for you.
Because there's just multiple times throughout the stage where it's just like, oh, auto saving, please wait, and I'm just like, okay, and then I'd wait for like 5 seconds, and then it's like, okay, you're good to go. I'm like,
don't even get me started on how enemies can shoot you through walls.
Dude.
Walls. I don't know how accurate they are, but I'm in a building, but somehow the enemy knows I'm in this specific corner of the building. There's no windows or anything, but they can still pinpoint accurately shoot me like they got wall hacks. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Can I just say, so just going back, so you were talking about how, like, I guess we were talking about how stealth is so inconsistent. So one thing I picked up on really early in the game is when they introduced the binocular system and zooming in, which again, the whole enemy tagging thing, I love that stayed in the Far Cry games, especially with the later games. It works so much better, with a camera or binoculars or whatever. I love that system. It's so satisfying when taking down strongholds. In this game, where you have the binoculars and you zoom in on people, so apparently these binoculars just have this high-tech feature where you can just suddenly hear people.
Directional microphone,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, what's that? Someone's like 200 meters like across that valley over there, but I can perfectly hear their conversation. Okay, cool. And I'm just wondering if the enemy AI system, I wonder if they adopt that same type of technology, because it's like the second you could be crawling and just, you're going so slow, and there's someone like at the top of the tower facing the complete opposite way, so far away from you, they just happen to cross paths with your crosshairs. You just happen to look in that direction, and then they just suddenly feel like someone's pointing a gun at me from like 100 meters away. I'm just going to quickly turn around and look directly at Jack Carver in the bushes on the ground while he's crouched, making no noise.
Shirt. It's a red shirt. It just gives them away.
Actually, you know what? To be fair, you know what? I'm gonna blame the red shirt. It's actually really, it's actually really great game design, but it's just because he was wearing that stupid fucking red shirt. That's the reason why everyone can see me. Okay, that you know what? I recommend this game. It's a great game. If I am going to say a positive, it's a pretty cool but unnecessary feature, but I did notice that whenever you're in the water, naturally due to your human buoyancy, you actually gradually float to the surface of water in this game. I thought that was pretty cool, I guess. It was a weird inclusion, but I noticed it. I was just like, oh, okay. That's cool, I guess. That's realistic.
But yeah, you are right about the stealth system, and you could play the exact same way and somehow get through it.
Yeah,
just like,
dude.
What did I do different to this playthrough than this other save that made me complete the self-deception correctly? I don't understand.
Yeah. But look, I feel like we're talking a lot more about this game than I expected, but I think it's mainly just like we're just so baffled by just how, and I want to be as fair as I can with it, because this game did come out in 2004. It's a 21-year-old game. Of course, it's not going to hold up compared to a modern day game, but I just feel like especially when you do compare it to games like Halo or Half-Life 2, it just feels so dated, I think. But look, before we go into the final verdict, because I do think we're kind of nearing our final thoughts and our conclusion on this game, I thought I'd try and cheer things up, David, because it's my favorite time of the year. It's time for Easter eggs, David. Ooh, no. All right, so being a bit of an older game, David, I was surprised to see that there were actually a couple of Easter eggs, but not too many. So I've got two that I wanted to go through with you today. So I really enjoyed this Easter egg. It's just such a bizarre inclusion. It reminded me of like how in Halo 3 there was just like the caveman family. Like it's just a weird inclusion like this. So in chapter 3 called Fort, there's a really bizarre Easter egg which can be triggered via multiple approaches. But the long and short of it is that if you approach the tunnel on your way to the fort and park a buggy on the stairs, then proceed to head inside the tunnel, take out all of the mercenaries inside the tunnel, but then if you return to your parked buggy on the stairs, you'll randomly find a pig sitting in the driver's seat. So
what?
So it's just a pig. It doesn't move. It's just a still pig in the driver's seat. It's just so random.
So random.
But the other variants tweak whether it'll be like two pigs in the buggy or if it'll be like one mercenary driving one piggy around. But yeah, I just thought it was just a super bizarre inclusion in this game. But I feel like this is like the definition of just a pure visual Easter egg, just for the hell of it, you know, like why not? And then for the second Easter egg, so the devs have actually left multiple secret messages all throughout the game, so should you want to go and explore and find them, but usually they're in the form of like a small wooden billboard with a message written in like Russian or Serbian, and accompanying these billboards is typically a skeleton or a prop arranged in like a funny position. But for one in particular, which I thought I'd just cover in this Easter egg section, it's on the swamp stage and you can find a hidden message that reads, "Art kicks ass," which is accompanied by a skeleton that's riding an atomic bomb cowboy style and it's lodged in the ground. So I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. And
that's kind of cool.
Sometimes you can find a weapon or whatever, but yeah, usually it's just like a really weird secret kind of message kind of thing. But yeah, that just about does it for Easter eggs for Far Cry 1, David. But that does bring us to our final thoughts and conclusions. So David, let the good people know, do you think that Far Cry 1 still holds up today?
Really great question. Spoiler if you haven't guessed it by now. Look, Far Cry 1 is a very ambitious title that was obviously made many moons ago. Compared to modern standards, it has aged poorly.
She's a bit rough. She's a bit rough.
Yeah, she's a bit rough, especially with its gameplay mechanics and weird, odd difficulty spikes. I can't recommend this game in 2025. I would only recommend it if you have played it originally and want to revisit it again and relive some nostalgia, or you're just a massive Far Cry fan that has to complete the collection and play this game just to get the full experience. If you are curious to play this game, I really couldn't recommend it because it will frustrate you because some poorly designed choices just make no sense.
I'm really glad that you said that because I'm kind of in the same camp with you, especially with playing the Far Cry Classic version, the remastered version. So if you have like a passing curiosity, or you almost want to have a peek back in time or like see this time capsule, which is this game, then yeah, I mean, I say why not? I mean, it's only a couple of dollars, honestly. It's I think it cost us like $4 or $5.
It was like $5, like $4 for me, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, goddamn, dude, like this was a rough kind of experience.
It's a slog.
I think objectively, it does not hold up today. But if you love the Far Cry series and you want to see where it began, and you want to try one of the 20,000 versions of the game, I say why not? But if I were to recommend any of the versions that they came out with, then it probably would be the 2014 remaster of Far Cry, aka Far Cry Classic. So yeah, cool. All right. So
well
thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching this video, guys. So next week we are going to be playing Far Cry 2. I'm incredibly excited about this one. I've never played it before.
Excited.
I've never played it before.
I can't wait to revisit it. I love Far Cry 2, man.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yes.
I've heard nothing but good things. I've heard that this is basically where the series really like sets in that Far Cry feel that we're so used to with, you know, like Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, Far Cry Primal, blah, blah, blah. Like it all started with Far Cry 2 and I think it's also unique that it's set in Africa. I don't know of too many games that have that African setting or that backdrop, so it'd be really cool to be immersed in this world. And apparently it's a very harsh environment, and yeah, I'm really excited about this game. So we're going to be covering that next week, everybody. But until then, make sure to check out our other videos on the channel. We upload twice a week. And yeah, if you agree or disagree with us with this video, with Far Cry 1, if you love this game, I'd really love to hear your thoughts down below. If we're missing something here, or you know,
if we've missed something dramatically, please let us know.
Yeah,
we would love to hear your thoughts.
And look, like, this is the first time I played Far Cry 1, and you know, this is in 2025. I'd love to hear the perspective of someone who played it in 2004, because back then I'm curious if this was a game that felt like super polished and like ahead of its time back then. So yeah, if you're one of those people and you're watching this video, please let us know down below. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Thanks, guys.